Welcome to Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance in Sacramento today, joined by Diane Harkey. She is the chair of the Board of Equalization of the state of California. Congratulations, Madam Chairwoman. A new position, I believe, as chair.
Yes, it is. Thank you so much. About 1 month now.
And I want to speak with you about your role. You are now the highest ranking Republican in the state of California. An honor indeed. But you can be a bridge to the federal government, to the Democrats, to a lot of different entities. I know it's new, but is that something you're starting to consider?
Oh, definitely, definitely. Right. We all want to help our state and do
Right.
what we can. You know, it's not a party principle, it's a state of California principle that, you know, I wish to help, and that's why I'm serving. And I think that because, you know, I mean, we've got obviously got Congress people and whatnot there at the national level, but in the state of California, this is really quite an honor and a privilege. And it's because of the great people that I work with on the board, the elected members, and also I've made friendships while I've been up here in the legislature and whatnot that have carried over. And so to the extent that I can represent a little bit on the national level, which I hope to do, I think that we can bridge some of the gaps.
I'm going to push you a bit because I think you're being humble. You represent 10 million people, just your district.
Right.
And you are chair of this body that represents almost 40 million people. You are the leading Republican in California. Yes, Kevin McCarthy is a congressman. He's the majority leader, but he represents, under 1 million people. He has his power base, and I take nothing away from him. But if you speak, and you speak loudly and clearly about whatever issue it may be, the federal government, they have to listen.
Well, I would hope they will,
Yeah.
and I am definitely trying to work with the members of the Congress and whatnot to be sure that we're heard. And it's very helpful that our Speaker Rendon has said that he's tired of Trump bashing and now wants to do the state's business. That's a very positive momentum because we need to take we need to quit poking the bear and just start dealing with our business. I don't believe anyone wants to hurt California or even wants to take us on. We're huge. But to the extent that we can, you know, lower the dialogue, dial it back a little bit, I think we'll get a lot more cooperation.
Yet on issues like immigration questions, sanctuary status, whatever that may mean, on issues of Obamacare versus Trump care, I mean, these will have impacts on us that would be dramatic. And God bless all of our Congress members. They're in Washington. You're here.
Right.
You're here. You're in Sacramento. And so, you know, how do you kind of use that insight, that leverage to explain that, look, I may not be a fan of Obamacare. I'm speaking as if I'm Diane Harkey, but you know, if you do X, Y, and Z, this is going to really be a problem.
Right. Well, the Medicaid portion is a bit of a problem.
The Medicaid expansion.
I know that is.
Right.
And what the deal? I mean, block funding to the states is, I think, a very good idea. So I support that concept because it allows each state to do what it will do.
But you're an economist. I mean, if the block grants, they don't increase at a rate with inflation or healthcare costs, we're in trouble.
But I watch the way our state has continually just escalated on the spending side.
Fair.
I mean, I think when we had the crash, maybe our state budget or general fund was $103 billion or something. Isn't it like 179 now?
It's up.
It's way up there. So I'm just saying, I think that at some point we have to have some economies, and I think we can do a lot here in the state because we have such a large population base. I think we can do a lot with the state, but by the same token, my goal on the board is to get people employed and working, and I really want to see some of those well-paying jobs to stay in the state of California. I'm tired of hearing people taking off and going out of state, and so, you know, in as much as tax reform happens a little bit on the federal level that will allow repatriation of dollars, I think that will help tremendously.
Let's talk about that because, look, we can say a lot of things about certain plans or programs proposed by the new president, but there's one program that's hard to reject, and that's his desire to bring jobs back to America. I mean, I don't know if it's going to hurt Mexico or China or whatever it may be, but look, who doesn't want more jobs in America?
Right,
You know,
we do.
But my question for you is, are we ready for these jobs to come back? Because these are skilled jobs. Are we preparing our labor force for the manufacturing jobs that presumably would come back? I know that may be outside of the purview of the BOE, but you know where I'm going.
Yeah, I do
Madam
know where
Chair.
you're going, and I think
Yeah.
our community colleges are really stepping up to the plate there. They're trying to do these programs. Not everyone needs a 4-year degree. Some
Right.
people need skill sets. A lot of people need skill sets. Some people like me don't want to go immediately into college. I didn't. I went out and got a job so I could support myself, and then I went on. Now, it's unusual that you finish, but some of us do. And I think that there are some people that just need a driving force, a reason to get up, to take care of themselves, and to feel some pride. And there's a lot of great jobs out there right now that lack skills.
Right.
So I think, you know, I've been down to San Diego, to Miracosta College,
Right.
Orange Coast.
Miracosta College, boy,
yeah.
are they doing phenomenal
They're
work.
doing great
They have
work.
that 4-year bachelor degree in biotech,
Right.
which is biomanufacturing, I think it's called. I mean, that's exactly the type of
And the
21st
same with Saddleback,
right,
Orange
in Orange
Coast.
County. Uh-huh.
You know, I mean, all of these community colleges are really fitting, you know, stepping up, and so we need to be sure that they get the funding that they need so that they can fill that gap.
A few years ago, well, maybe 20, I got a notice from the BOE that I owed taxes. And the problem was I had lived in Colorado for 11 months and 2 weeks and in California for 2 weeks. And so there was a problem because of my residency, and I was able to contact my member of the Board of Equalization. No special privileges, but they were my advocate, I guess, or at least they got me to an advocate, and the issue was resolved.
Right.
I bring up that story to ask you, what can our viewers do if they're presented either with a notice or just generally questions about taxes?
Well, if you get a tax question or a notice, do
Yeah.
not assume it's going to get better. Please call
Yes,
immediately.
yes.
Don't try to handle it yourself,
Yes.
because if you're getting noticed, it's probably for something that, you know, you need to research, you need to bring documentation for, and we can help get through that. We resolved over 500 constituent issues favorably. This is what my staff does in a quarter of the state. I mean, the cases that come before the board hearings are a very small amount of what we do. We work a lot in the district, and sometimes people are already getting notices and liens, and we're able to help with that.
I mean, you're our elected representative.
Right.
That's what you're supposed
We
to do.
represent you.
Right.
Right, and it's really very difficult once you get into like a bad audit or something. Just come early, come often, please come see us. That's what I ask, is call us.
Last year, I had the honor of moderating a panel. You were there for Jerome Horton at his Connecting Women to Power conference. I learned that you have one too.
I do, and you know, Spectrum Charter is a huge sponsor
Right.
of that. We had 1,200 people at UCI, our first event. We ran out of
Right.
parking in place
Perfect.
for everybody.
As it should
we
be.
only were supposed to have 700. We went into overflow. People stayed all day long. We had like 800 people still there at
Right.
4 o'clock in the afternoon. We were down in Temecula, had a big event there. I think 1,500 people. We bring in government as well as private
Right.
businesses to help to hold seminars. We had Facebook telling everybody, telling our business owners how they can use that as a marketing tool.
What I love about the conference is that you're providing information. You don't know what you don't know.
Right.
But at these conferences, you learn what you don't know, and then you know it.
And they tell you about financing. We've
Right.
had financing seminars, so they knew if they needed like maybe an angel investor, or maybe they just need to go to a bank, or maybe there's some
We'll
other
have you back for
accommodation.
sure. She is the chair of the Board of Equalization. Her name is Diane Harkey. I'm Brad Pomerance on Local Edition.
Thank you.